Jayatmeshwar, Samarpan Yog of the Himalayas, Part 1, Episode 4. There were several bay leaf trees near our cave. We used to pick those leaves and use them as spices for seasoning. One day, when I had climbed one of these trees and was picking some leaves, I saw that a pair of sparrows had built a nest there, and there were 3 eggs in it. The male sparrow would go out, and the female would stay in the nest. Later, the nest became a center of attention for me. The female sparrow would fly nearby and quickly return. The male would go in the morning and did not return until evening. Then, I don't know what happened, but one evening, the male sparrow did not return, and the female was very sorrowful. She kept waiting for him, but he never turned up. The female sparrow was sad for a few days, and then forgot her sorrow. After a few days, 2 of the eggs hatched. Maybe the third one had fallen and broken. Then the sparrow went out every morning, and when she returned in the evening, she would carry grains for her chicks in her beaks and feed them very lovingly. As the time for her return drew near, the chicks waited eagerly for her. One evening, I saw the sparrow returning, but she kept falling again and again, and finally, she fell right under the tree. I went up to her and saw that she had been hurt by a small arrow and was bleeding profusely. She glanced towards her young ones as if she was asking them to forgive her, as she wouldn't be able to protect them or bring food for them. Then she looked at me as if she hoped that now I would take care of her chicks. I kept giving her water to drink for quite some time, but she could not be saved and died. As I was feeding her with water, 4 small grains of rice fell out of her beak. I took those grains and climbed up the tree and fed the chicks with the grains, saying that this was the last morsel from their mother, which the poor thing had carried for them. They could not understand anything, but craned their necks looking for their mother, and I knew that she would never return. I buried her under the tree and started thinking about the man who must have shot the arrow at her. How cruel man can be! It is good that Gurudev has kept me away from humans. The man who shot the arrow was not even aware that this was the mother of some babies, and that she was carrying some grains for them. Later on, I gave something to those little ones to eat every day. They slowly grew up and then flew away. Then I felt that I had fulfilled the hopes of that sparrow. The incident with the sparrow made me aware of a mother's heart. I understood that the sparrow must have gone towards the Nagaland, northeastern state border. The Adivasis, the tribal people in that area, kill and eat all the birds. That is why no birds are seen in the skies in that area. The residents of that area hunt for birds and eat dogs too. I used to think that the process of giving birth to a child is so great and difficult, and even more difficult is the process of nurturing the child. Yet, it takes just a moment to kill it. What right does man have to destroy what he cannot create? Violence is always unnatural. We may be walking on the road and unknowingly an ant may get crushed under our foot. This type of violence that takes place unintentionally is understandable. But purposely killing someone is unnatural. Nature has given us this human form, and it is the basic nature of man to love all creatures. When we indulge in violence, we go against our basic nature. This is a decline in humanity. That is why several religions have stressed on non-violence. Any type of violence is against religion. It is against the religion of humanity. This is like cutting off one's own foot. On the one hand, we are awakening our power of humanity. We are awakening the living energy within us. And on the other hand, we eat dead animals and consume dead energy. So how will the living energy awaken within? How can it move forward? Spiritual progress of a sadhak who commits violence is not possible. Violence is a comprehensive word. One should not cause hurt or sorrow, even unknowingly, to any creature. Using wrong words or hurting someone through words, insulting someone with your eyes and causing offense, talking sarcastically and causing pain. All these acts are a kind of violence. When we cause pain and sorrow to someone, we go against our basic nature. Your spiritual progress can be judged by how many people are happy with you, how many people you can make happy, and to how many people you can give love. It is these things that lead to spiritual progress, and all these should exist within your heart. One morning, I was sitting with Gurudev near a very big rock, and the thought entered my mind that Gurudev keeps asking me again and again to make my chitta pure and holy, to make my chitta powerful. But what exactly is this chitta? And how can we understand it? As these thoughts were passing through my mind, Gurudev looked at me and asked what I was thinking. I answered that there was nothing on my mind, because what was going through my mind was very deep, and I wasn't at such a high spiritual level that I could easily articulate what I had been thinking. I could not explain it easily to him because I was not aware that I had been thinking about that subject. Gurudev cast me a very deep glance and seemed to look deep into my mind as if he was trying to fathom my thoughts. And then he started speaking. There are eyes in our body, and we can clearly see whatever is visible through them. We can see whatever is bright and shining. Our eyes themselves are not sufficient to see everything, but need light to be able to see. The eyes are useless on their own, and even when light is present, eyes have their own limits and can only see whatever comes within their range. Beyond that, the eyes cannot see anything. Thus, when light is present, eyes can see objects which come within the range of their vision, and pass on information about those objects to the brain. If the eyes have already seen the object earlier, the brain recognizes whatever it sees through the radiance which the eyes receive. Sometimes, the eyes also see something never seen before, or they may get an entirely new experience. There is a soul within every body. Think of it as a small body which cannot be seen. Chitta is the eye of that soul. The soul is more powerful than the body. That is why the energy of the soul is more powerful than that of the body. Just as the body has eyes, the soul also has eyes, and that is called the Chitta. Thus, we can call the Chitta the eyes of the soul. The more inward this Chitta goes, the steadier it will be. And the steadier it is, the more powerful and effective it will be. The more effective it is, the more subtle it will be. And one can sit still in one place and instantly travel thousands of kilometers away through a subtle Chitta with a speed that is faster than air and sound. Just as your eyes give you external information when a person comes in front of you, similarly, if you put your powerful Chitta on that person, it will give you information about the person's past and future thoughts. One can obtain Shakti, energy from the Supreme Being, only through a powerful Chitta. A person can gain control over his Chitta and reach this state by meditating continuously for 12 years. Magnetic powers are created in a person with a powerful Chitta, and positive energy flows continuously within him. He is always involved in constructive and creative work, and such work always takes place at his hands. As a result of positive vibrations always flowing from his body, he gives positive energy to people with negative, despondent, and disheartened vibrations. Such people with negative vibrations are always strongly attracted towards people with positive vibrations, and a change is brought about in their negative vibrations. A person with a powerful Chitta can easily merge with nature and can easily absorb energy from nature. Then he can cause the energy he has obtained to flow to others according to his will. He has control over his Chitta, and that is why he can also easily control the flow of that energy. The earlier ages were the ages of physical prowess, where there were great strong warriors with maces and powerful bodies. They were the best warriors, and thus physical strength was a sign of supremacy. Today, we have the age of the intellect. An intelligent person may be physically weak, but he just needs to press a button to kill even the strongest person. Now, the symbol of strength is not physical strength. Intelligence has become a symbol of excellence, and the future age will be that of Chitta Shakti, the power of consciousness. A person whose Chitta, whose consciousness is powerful, will be able to dominate over everyone through his chitta. Now, the symbol of supremacy will be the chitta. The person who has a strong and powerful chitta will be considered the best in society. Thus, the symbol of superiority will be the chitta. This will happen in the future. The chitta will be a weapon of power. It will be the medium of Shakti, of energy. Our chitta should always be focused within us, because the more inward it is, the more steady it will be. And the steadier it is, the more powerful it will be. The ordinary man destroys it by thinking about bad incidents and bad events from his past, or he wastes it by trying to find fault with others. Thus, the Chitta Shakti, the energy of consciousness, is destroyed and the Chitta becomes weak. One has to constantly keep trying to control it or be a part of the collectivity of people who are trying to control it. The Chitta can thus be made stronger by turning it inwards during one's daily routine. Then, for some days, Gurudev continuously took me to a jungle where there were several short bushes. Small pearl-shaped seeds, which were half black and half red in color, were growing on the bushes. He would pick a seed every day, bring it, and place it in a pit in front of the cave. This went on for several days. The leaves of those bushes tasted sour and sweet, and were small in size, like the leaves of the tamarind tree. The pit was about 6 feet long, 9 feet deep, and 3 feet wide, and was slowly filled with the seeds. Then one day, he asked me to sleep in it, and then stand in it every day for 2 to 3 hours. One day, he told me that these seeds were called gunj, which are seeds of the shrub Abrus presotorius. They have the property of sucking heat from one's body, and after the excess heat is removed from the body, one's chitta stays calm and peaceful. After a few days, I really began to enjoy sleeping in this pit. This exercise went on for several days. He would ask me to eat the leaves of these bushes together with leaves from some other bushes, and then lie in the pit. This routine went on for some months. Along with this, he also gave me the juice of some herbs every morning, which I had to drink on an empty stomach. The juice did not taste very good, and I did not like drinking it. But he went to so much trouble to pick the leaves and grind them to extract the juice that I did not have the heart to refuse him. He was very knowledgeable about plants and herbs. Our lunch consisted of squash, bananas, some leaves from trees, and some other fruits. We had only one meal a day. Sometimes we wouldn't eat for 4 or 5 days. We did not feel the need to have regular meals there. Day after day, he would keep trying out experiments on me. He used to insist more on keeping one's bowels and system clear. He said that if one has clear bowels, the stomach will be clean. And if the stomach was clear, then antibodies wouldn't collect or be created in one's body. He would sometimes give me some leaves for this purpose and ask me to tie them on my navel. All the processes that were being carried out there did not make me feel that I was undergoing any spiritual practice at all. I felt as if he was a practitioner of Ayurvedic medicine and I had come for a stay in some nature cure clinic. Perhaps that was his way of working. The whole thrust was on getting me ready for some great spiritual practice. He was moving ahead day by day and wanted to take me to some definite physical level. He knew where he was heading, but I was not aware of it. He was happy with the day-to-day progress, and it was the sole purpose of my life to make him happy. It seemed to me that he was preparing my body for some special spiritual practice, sadhana, through nature, and he was using nature for that purpose. He seemed always to be preparing the chitta to be positive. Then he taught me how to sit in the moonlight on the first day of the lunar month and meditate by concentrating on the moon. Day by day, the duration of the study period kept increasing, and on the full moon, Purnima night, he made me meditate all night. He asked me to concentrate my chitta on the moon and to establish a subtle relationship between myself and the moon. Then he asked me to imagine that I had accepted the moon as my deity and surrender myself completely to it. To imagine that the cool, pure energy of the moon was being showered on me, that I was experiencing coolness in the light of the moon, and I could especially experience the coolness on my Surya Nadi, my right channel, that my liver was slowly becoming cooler, and I experienced inner peace through that spiritual practice. Jai Atmeshwar. We will conclude today's episode of the book reading here. Thank you for listening.